watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? I want to give my quick thoughts on this great fight between Froch and Groves, the rematch. First things first, I want to say congratulations to Carl Froch. Very impressive performance. I did not expect to see this type of Carl Froch against Groves. By watching the first fight, I thought the rematch would go just like the first fight. The only difference I thought would be Groves wouldn't get stopped this time. Well, that turned out to be exactly what happened in the rematch. But outside of the knockout, this fight was totally different than the first fight. Now, the first thing I need to admit is I didn't watch this whole fight yet. I will most likely watch the whole fight tomorrow. I came in, I believe, on the 4th or 5th round. So, I'll just go ahead and give my quick thoughts on basically what I saw. From what I seen, the fight was still going back and forth. It was still a seesaw. It seemed like Carl Froch, he was really killing Groves with the body shots, and it seems like he was breaking him down a little bit. But what was impressive about Groves is Groves, he adjusted by the 5th or the 6th round, because then Groves, he went back to boxing, and he went back to out-jabbing Carl Froch. I mean, you could just see how bad both of these fighters wanted this fight. It was so interesting because you don't normally see a fight that's so competitive where both fighters are making adjustments. Usually you only have one fighter in there that can make adjustments. Sometimes you don't have either one of the fighters that can make adjustments, right? But it was a seesaw battle because the fighters, they kept adjusting to what each of them were doing. Now, when it comes to Carl Froch is a very deceptive fighter, because when you look at Carl Froch on video, he just looks like this really awkward mummy type fighters. He really looks awkward the way he swings punches. He doesn't look like he knows what he's really doing, but he does know what he's doing, and he does it very well. Once again, he was able to adjust. The thing is, when in the first fight, I noticed when Carl Froch would try to go toe-to-toe with George Groves, Froch, he was leaving himself open a little bit, and Groves was able to capitalize, counter, and catch Froch a couple of times and kind of hurt him. Knocked him down, matter of fact, I believe in the first round in the first fight. It didn't go down that way in this fight. Carl Froch, he was able to attack, but when he attacked, he didn't leave himself wide open. He was at a distance to where Groves couldn't do anything but basically defend. Like I said, he was chopping away at the body. And then, of course, at the end, he caught him with that vicious left hook that didn't land, and then the right hand came right over top and completely knocked out George Groves. This was a very impressive performance by Carl Froch. I've always thought that Froch was a good fighter, but, I give him a lot more credit after what I've seen in this rematch, because Carl Froch, he had to learn from the first fight, and he did that. He did his homework. Okay, I expected George Groves to do most of the homework. I expected him to come back and be new and improved. But it was George Groves that was basically the new and improved fighter. So, man, I'm looking forward. The thing about Carl Froch is he is a very exciting fighter. He's an exciting fighter because he doesn't have the best defense. He can get hit. On top of that, he's always going for the knockout. So, and then even furthermore, he gives great interviews and he does great press conferences. So I definitely want to see Carl Froch in some more fights. I mean, you put him in any fight, it's going to be a very entertaining fight. They're already talking about Froch possibly fighting against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. That's a great fight. The fight I really want to see is Froch versus Triple G. I think that would be a blazing fight. Okay, of course, I still wouldn't mind seeing Froch versus Ward. I don't believe Froch can ever beat Andre Ward if they fought 5 times, but it would be a good fight to make. I mean, after watching what Froch did to George Groves, it would make a rematch against Andre Ward even that much bigger, because the hype is there. Now people are watching what Froch did to Groves, and people are going to actually start believing that Froch has a chance of beating Ward, which I was impressed with his performance over Groves, but I wouldn't go that far. I think Andre Ward is just on a whole nother level. He's too much of a thinker in there, and he could adapt to whatever it is you're doing in the ring. So Carl Froch would obviously have a much better chance over fighters like Chavez and Triple G. So I'm going to go ahead and watch the whole fight tomorrow, but for now, that's pretty much all I got, guys. I'm on to the next one.